So today it's all about entrepreneurs and solopreneurs, and this is how to build a better business. And we go through an entire series of how you can build your business. And one of the first steps, I always start with making it heartfelt and authentic. But then one of the first steps is creating your VPS, your value proposition statement. And we talked all about that last month, and you can listen to our recording. You can go to the Academy and just click through on all of those previous recordings. And today we're talking about storytelling. Now, I just want to say an actual application of storytelling. When I try to recruit someone to interview them on my podcast, where I maybe talk to authors, one of the things I want to know is what is their story? What is their backstory? Because that's what really makes me connect with them as an author is finding out, where they got the first spark, to even be an author. What I want to go back far enough to find out where were you and what made you decide to do what you're doing today. And most of your listeners, or the folks that you're trying to attract to your business, that's what they want to know about you, because that is where the relationship is built, is they can connect with your story and they can go, oh gosh, yes, Debbie gets me, Sherry gets me, Satya gets me. I was there, and they were there, and then they had a spark and look what they did. And if they can do it, then I can do it too. And so your storytelling is your marketing. Now, we all love a story. How many times do we spend our evenings watching movies because it's all about the story? And we're watching reality TV because we want to see the story. How does the story end? And we read books because we love the story. And so don't forget that your audience loves the story as well. And Sherry says, yes, our brains think in stories. That's absolutely true. So you have to start with your story. That's the cornerstone of your business. And you can just say, oh, I have this product and you should buy it. And people are kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, thanks. If I ever need that, I'll keep you in mind. But chances are they're not going to buy it. And let me give you an example. Now, we have all gals on the call. So one of the things that is common between a lot of gals, not everyone, but a lot of gals, is that they've struggled with their weight. If somebody walks into a room and says, oh my gosh, I used to weigh this, but then I found this product and now I want to help you reach your weight goals, we're more likely to buy it than if somebody just walks in and says, hey, y'all should buy this. I hear that it works. But if that person has a personal story and says, it worked for me, here's what I did, here's how it worked, then I think what happens is everyone at that point is leaning in, because I don't know about you, but I struggled with my weight for years. And when somebody walks in and you can tell that something has worked for them, I'm asking them, I'm like, what's your story? Tell me your story. What's your story? And if I can relate, and if they can say, oh yeah, I really struggled and then I found this, I'm ready to buy. They don't have to sell me on anything. I'm ready to buy. Um, I think that is how all of us function. We want to hear the story. We want to know that the product works, and we want to know kind of how that person decided to get into that market. And so with that said, the first thing that I realized on my website is I didn't want to have an about me page. Now, I already know whenever I go to websites, if I want to find out their story, hopefully I can go to their about me page and I can see some personal storyline within their about me, like, and again, I like to use the Disney theory of once upon a time, here's where I was, but then I discovered this, and now I want to help you discover it. Now, that's an oversimplified version, and we're going to get down into the weeds a little bit more today on storytelling. But that's kind of what I want to know. When I want to interview someone for my podcast, I go to their about me page, and I am so hoping that it has a little bit of their personal story. Now, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes the about me page is very mechanical, and it's very sales, almost like a sales page. you know, like we were founded in blah, 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 blah. And then, you know, we have this many employees and now we offer these services. And it doesn't give me a warm and fuzzy feeling. And so as soon as I interview the person, the first thing, if their About Me page didn't tell me this, the first thing I want to ask them is, tell me your story. What's your backstory? How did you get here? You know, what prompted you to even go into this industry, whatever that industry is? And it can be, you know, a million and one things. But I always want to know what makes them tick. And that's what builds relationships. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you just a little bit about how that works. And here is the home page of my website. So look what I did. Right after the home page, if you scroll down, the home page has, you know, kind of like my sales funnel. But look what I have right at the top, Kathy's story. And Debbie, you had your hand up. Did you have a question?
No, I'm sorry. I hit the wrong button when I
Oh,
was trying to
okay.
make my screen bigger.
No problem. No problem. So anyway, I have Kathy's story front and center right here. But before I show you that, I want to actually go to this is the Academy. For those of you that are new, you can see up here at the top, it's the Kathy Benner International Academy. But if you just put in kathybenner.com, you'll get to the same page. So make a note of just kathybenner.com. You can see my name there in my little Hollywood square. When you click on the More button, it comes to the Entrepreneur and Solopreneurs. And when you click on the Entrepreneurs and Solopreneurs, here's where you can see all of our previous replays. But when you actually go to the course, it takes a moment for it to load. I've got a lot of windows open up here. This is the Build a Better Business, and it's from startup to a full-time gig if you want to go full-time. It's everything you need to know to launch your business. This tells you how to get to my calendar. This, of course, is how to get involved in our calls today, which Satya found it on Meetup. And the rest of you gals on the call have been with me for a while, so you probably have a note in your calendar. But last month we talked about the VPS. I talk a little bit about adding more heart to your business, but then we launch right in January on the VPS, and today is the storytelling. So I'm going to click on, well, let me just show you. From there, it goes on to the rest of the months. Serving is selling, step-by-step guide, how to create. Anyway, it goes all the way down. So today we're in the storytelling segment, and I'm going to click on the second one. And these are 5 tips for including your storytelling into your sales strategy, how to build a great story. Start with the basics, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. Determine what idea you want to communicate. You have to get their attention. Stories are meant to be captivating as well as informative. So you have to put yourself in your listener's shoes. What would make them lean in? And then practice makes perfect. I know it seems silly, but practice telling your story. And all of you have heard my story, and I can then tweak my story. Your story becomes a little bit like an accordion where you can expand on parts of your story that will communicate to the audience that you're talking to at that time. So if I'm talking to a group of authors, I'm going to talk more about how I launched my first book. If I'm talking to a group of salon gals or stylists, I'm going to talk about how I started in the salon industry. If I'm talking just in general, to say a chamber of commerce luncheon where you have businesses of all kinds, then I'm going to give it the 50,000 foot view story, just give the overview of where I started and where I ended up. And if I'm talking to folks that are in real estate investors, I'm going to talk more about how I bought my first piece of real estate. So you can massage that story, if you will, to whatever your audience or whoever your audience is, but make it personal. And that's where a lot of folks fail. They don't make it personal. And even if what you're selling is more, well, because Sherry is much more on the educational spectrum, but anytime she weaves a personal note in there, it's going to make folks lean in. And Estella is doing Legal Shield, but anytime she can weave in a personal note, folks are going to lean in more. And so make sure that you make it personal. Now, let's say that I'm working with a doctor or a physician and they want to talk about a hot topic that's very close to their heart, but maybe they don't have a personal story. They can use one of their clients' stories. They can say, I had this client once. So Estella can use that. Sherry can use that. So you can say, I had this client once and here's what was going on. And here's how here's where they were. And then they discovered this. And now here's how I'm helping them. And so you have to make it personal in some fashion. Okay. Does that make sense to everybody? So now I'm going to show you here, right in the actual academy, there is a build your story template, and you can download this template. And once you download the template and open that up, let's see if it'll open here. Takes a moment. There it is. This is the template on how to build your story. Now, feel free to go into the academy and just make a copy of this. And then I'm going to show you how it works, because this is the exact template that I used. Okay. And let me see. It is a total of, yeah, it's the template is the first 2 pages. And then I'm going to show you how I created my story out of this. Okay. So here's how you build your story. You start with who, what, or were you at the start of the story? I was, or I am. And what was your situation? My situation was. Make that in bullet points, because you can turn that into a blog post. You can turn it into a short story. You can turn it, you can turn the bullet points into full sentences if you want to. I leave mine in bullet points because I want you gals to see how easy this is. Now, what happened that started to change everything? What was the event, the decision? What choice did you make? Here's what happened. Now, what problem or conflict arose immediately? The problem was. Now, what problem or conflict arose almost immediately? The problem was. And put that into bullet points. And then bad to worse. How did things go from bad to worse? Well, here's how things went from bad to worse. Make your bullet points. What caused the situation? Now, you get the idea. You're just putting in bullet points. Let me show you what that looks like, because I left the prompts in. I'm going to scroll down to page 3. And again, all of this is in the academy. Feel free to go in and copy that. Here is how it turns out. Let me tell you a quick story. Here's the prompts. I left them in there. Let me tell you a quick story. I was a single mom working 2 jobs, both minimum wage with no health insurance. Here's my bullet points. Living payday to payday with no extra cash, had a car that wouldn't run, had no means to save toward retirement. Then something happened that changed my life forever. My mom sat me down and had a talk with me. I met a nail tech who was making more in a week than I made in a month. I decided to attend nail school. Now, at the time, I had no idea. See, these are the prompts. I had no idea the impact this would have. The problem was, put your 3 bullet points in there. The problem was for me that now working full-time in my corporate job and part-time as a nail tech, I had no time for my daughter, and I was always racing from one job to another. You see how it just builds your story. Here's the next prompt. Just when I thought things couldn't get any worse, remember what went from bad to worse? The nail salon I signed on with decided to close. My corporate position was changing into a mandatory bachelor degree, and I had no time to go back to school to get my bachelor degree because I was working 2 jobs. Well, now I was on the downward slide because, well, the owners of the nail salon decided it was too much work for them to continue. The owners of the corporate company was hoping to sell and retire. The new big corporate buyer wanted everyone to have a bachelor degree. See, that was the downward slide. How am I going to get out of this? You see where anyone that I am talking to is now saying, oh my gosh, Kathy gets me. She's been there. She's been in the struggle. So now they're leaning in. You know why? They want to know how the story ends. They're like, oh my gosh, what did she do? How did she fix that? Well, needless to say, here's how I felt. And this is where you want to put in there exactly what you were feeling at the time, because your audience is going to resonate with this. Here's how I felt. I felt panicked. How many of my audience members feel panicked? And so they're leaning in. They say, okay, if Kathy can figure this out, I can too. So how could I support myself and my daughter without these 2 jobs? I started researching local colleges to get my bachelor degree as soon as possible to try and keep my corporate job. And I started visiting nail salons to find a new salon. That's when I hit rock bottom. I showed up for work to the nail salon and it was locked with a big for sale sign in the window. The salon had closed. The next day, I showed up for my corporate job and my boss told me I needed to work more hours. My mandatory 50 hours a week was not enough for the new owners, and I was exhausted from the commute and the work hours. This meant I panicked and started looking for yet a third job. My mom was exhausted from taking care of my dad, who had been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And my mom was also watching my ADHD daughter while I was trying to figure out what to do. So you can see where my house of cards was ready to fall down between my mom being overextended and me being overextended. Okay, how many of you are leaning into this story? You get it? You see how important your story is? That's when I discovered or decided, had a reservation about, found, figured out, that's the prompt, that I needed to go full time as a nail tech since the income was better than my corporate job. And with my nail tech income, I decided to buy my first home all by myself, a condo. And with my nail tech income, I was able to afford health insurance for myself and my daughter. Because one of the big things was once I left my corporate job, I didn't have any health insurance because my health insurance was connected through my job. So now with an increased income, see, I discovered I could do it by just being a full-time nail tech. Then something happened that changed everything. Now, what I'm doing is I'm painting this, my story, I'm painting this picture, and it's the hero's journey. You know, it's here's where I started, here's where I struggled, you know, and then here's when everything started to change. Okay. So now I'm at the bottom of that hero's journey and I'm starting up the other side. I'm on the upswing. I had found a new salon where the owners had nail techs and tanning beds. I realized as owners, they were collecting rent from me and the other technicians. It occurred to me that I could buy my own building and rent it out to hairstylists and nail techs. And in 20 years, my staff could buy me a building for income and retirement. You see that aha moment? So that was the spark or the kick in the tail I needed. I was scared but optimistic to get a commercial loan for my very own salon building. I knew I was on the right path, and here's what happened next. I learned everything I could about the salon industry. I made additional mortgage payments each year to pay off the building earlier than the 20-year note. Then one day I looked up and realized I could now do what? Put in your own bullet points on your journey. I could now buy 4 more salon buildings and sign on even more stylists and nail techs. I also started buying single family rentals to help grow my passive income in retirement. I was forever changed by the fact that what fact made me forever changed? The fact was I now had passive income and freedom to live the lifestyle I always wanted. I could work less hours. I could even homeschool my daughter. So now, how did I feel? How did I see myself? In control, confident, a good provider for the first time ever. I saw myself as a business owner. I received the Chamber of Commerce Business of the Year Award, and I received the Chamber of Commerce Entrepreneur of the Year Award. And that's why I knew I couldn't stop there. So remember, it's like, here's where I was, but then, and now I want to help you. So here is that last step. And that's why I knew I couldn't stop there. Here's the last step of the hero's journey. I decided that I needed to teach other people how to do what I have done. I needed to make creating passive income even easier for them. Now I am focusing on creating a step-by-step process for others to discover what their next best step in creating passive income, creating a user-friendly website, and creating an online international academy. I am able to help individuals and entrepreneurs just like you go from panic to passive income. And how does it make me feel? Like there's so much more for me to do. I'm just getting started. And what I'd like you to take away from all this is no matter how bleak things get, keep going, never stop learning, and simply start to find your next best step to passive income and freestyle living today. Now, that's the story. What do you think? Is that crazy or what? You just fill in the blanks. Now, I want to go back. Here it is. I want to go back to my homepage and let's get rid of these downloads over here. Now, here's Kathy's story. I put it right in my website. And when you click on Kathy's story, guess what happens? It's the exact template. It's the exact template. I just turned it into sentences instead of bullet points. I left the prompts there so that you can go to my website and steal my prompts. Okay. And it's right under Kathy's story right here. So then it occurred to me, and let's see if I can pull it up here. So then it occurred to me when I actually give somebody my electronic business card, which is on Linktree, I always say you have to lead with your story. I did not have this link. This is my electronic business card where I had it. I started my business card with chat with Kathy, and then my event calendar. And then step one, the free meetups, which is what you're on today. Step two, choose from the replays and the courses. Step three, become a member of the academy. Step four, one-on-one coaching if you want to get there faster, and then an entire overview of the academy. That's the sales part. Then learn more about me. This is pointing back. They can see how I give. They can see our tribe trips. They can see my author page, my podcast, my blog, the magazine, the speakers page media kit, or in the private community. We have a private like Facebook community inside the academy. But then you can either be a speaker or if you need a speaker, and here's how you can be one or if you need one. So there is a little speakers cabinet there at the bottom. So that's my entire electronic business card. But I added this at the top and I even made it more casual. I made, instead of schedule a meeting with Kathy, I used the word chat to make it a little more casual. And here I not correct English, but I said, you gotta read this first. I wanted it to be very casual. And guess what? When they click on that link, guess what happens? It goes right to this page in the website, which is the same story with the same bullet points. You see that? So now when I'm out networking and someone says, oh my gosh, can we connect? I go, let me send you my electronic business card. Right on my phone, I have the Linktree app, and it actually creates a QR code, and I can just hold up my phone and they can hold up their camera and it automatically opens my Linktree right to this page. So this is my electronic business card, but it's almost like a landing page, and you can move these links around. So if, for example, I was promoting my book, I could move my book right up under my story. I could, whatever, if I'm promoting a tribe trip coming up, I could move the tribe trip link right up under my story. And I can move those links around as often and as many times as I want. So it's a great little electronic business card app. And I use it all the time, and I get so many compliments from it. And everyone that connects with me that I meet for the first time, they say, oh my God, your story. I couldn't believe your story. And I hear that more. They don't say, oh my gosh, I couldn't believe all of the modules you wrote, or I couldn't, your calendar looks, no, they don't say any of that. They say, oh my gosh, I couldn't believe your story. I want to connect more. It makes them lean in. Okay. So questions, comments, let's talk about your story. So how many of you have really worked on your story when you're out in a networking situation? And we're all in those situations, whether we're at Thanksgiving dinner with our family, or whether we're in a group of other business owners, or whether we're at a Bible study. How many times does somebody turn to you and go, what is it that you do? What is it that you do? And so the first thing you're going to say is your VPS. And that's where you have to be able to, and we talked about that last month, that's where you have to be able to make your VPS appropriate for your audience. Don't overwhelm them with technical words or phrases if they're not connected or not in your, like if somebody's not into real estate, I'm not going to jump in how, oh, I use a 1031 exchange to buy. They're going to go, what is she even talking about? Because they're not into the real estate game. So I have to really tailor my VPS to my audience. And of course, once I do that and they lean in a little bit, like, tell me more about that, I can say, you know what? I'm not trying to sell you anything. Let me just send you my electronic business card, and you can take a look. And guess what? The first link, Kathy's story, you got to read this first. You know what happens? Almost everyone clicks on, unless they're specifically looking for my blog or podcast, and that's why I sent them. If it's just a general connection, they click on that story, and then I get a text message back then they go, oh my gosh, your story. I want to know more. How can I get involved? Okay, comments, questions. Satya, are you unmiked there? Do you have a comment for us?
Yeah, I was going to say I really like your electronic business card. It was cool. And also the story was super interesting. Yeah, I like the
Yes.
content. Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
All right. Now, does anybody want to share their story? And now, again, remember when I went through the academy piece and I said, practice your story right now without having that in front of me. If somebody goes, oh, what's your story anyway, Kathy? I'm at a networking event and somebody's like, yeah, I'm not to the place where I'm going to send them my electronic business card. We just met. They said, what do you do? Oh, I'm a passive income mentor. I help you create passive income without punching a time clock. And they go, really? What's your story? How did you do that? And I go, well, I was a single mom, but then I discovered that I could really make a better living in the cosmetology industry. And then through the cosmetology industry, I started buying real estate. And now I'm retired with real estate. So you can see where I can just sum that up. And like I said, your story is like an accordion. So depending on who my audience is, if I'm talking to a bunch of stylists, I can say, and I started a salon and then I realized that I could run a booth rent salon and make it passive. Well, they're all leaning in at that point because all the stylists out there, after about 10 years, their arms are pretty tired, standing behind the hair chair, doing hair 12 hours a day. And if I say, I can show you how to make this passive, they're like, tell me more. How can I make this passive? And then I say, and then I can even show you how you can create a retirement income out of your salon. Most of them think they're going to retire with a shoebox full of rent receipts and a building full of used salon equipment. They can't imagine how they could build a retirement out of that. And I can show them how to do both. And when they read my story or hear my story, they're like, oh, she's actually done it. Yes, I'm leaning in. So does that make sense? So who else can kind of, in a nutshell, can give me their story? What made you do what you're doing today? Once upon a time, but then and now. Sherry.
I can share. I could share my screen,
Okay.
or I could just share it this way. So it's up to you.
I am going to make you a co-host. If you want to share your screen, please feel free.
Okay. The reason I'm doing this is because I want you to see what I did here. I am writing a webinar for Wednesday, and I'm letting you see the notes page within Canva. So what I'm going to read to you, people don't see. So I wanted you to see what people are seeing and what people aren't seeing, because my setup is a little bit different than Kathy's. I used to think that math and writing were taught the same way. I had exposed students to, here's your worksheet, do it, kind of an instruction. I'd help them where they were struggling. But I had this third grade student who was, his handwriting was just so messy. We were working on that, but he had really poor carryover from when he would tell me the answers to when he would have to write them down. So we were looking for ways to help him bridge that gap. But out of the blue, Mom asked me, could I help with math? I went, sure. And then I panicked because the next session I went in and I had filled along and we cut a pie into quarters and everything was going well until it wasn't. Then I met this lady named Jonna Lee, who is a math teacher, and she helped me understand that math is innate. And then I go into the John Hopkins story. John Hopkins did a research story on 6-month-old infants to find out that they understand patterns. They can see patterns. They found out that animals can see patterns. And would it be okay with you if I shared how she recommended I help your students? But before we do that, I also want to share this. Have you ever seen a toddler write? They kind of scribble, they're all over the place. But when they see numbers, like they can count the pictures on the page. Counting is natural. Skip counting, that's when you count like every other or every fifth, like you're counting by fives, tens, fours, whatever. That happens before you learn formal mathematics. But writing is not that natural. You need to explicitly be taught how to write an A, how to write a B, how to write all the letters of the alphabet. The problem isn't the kids that are bad at math. Where am I? I'm doing it this way. It's hard to figure out where I am on the thing. But the problem isn't that kids are bad at math. It's that we are teaching math and writing the same way, explicitly. We're trying to do these procedures, but not letting them experience mathematics. We're focusing on memory and we're focusing on mimicking. They have to, in their homework, they have to mimic what they were taught at school. And Building Thinking Classroom uses the definition of constantly referencing the demonstration sample using line by line mapping. I know that might be over your head, but you're not a teacher in the audience here, and I am aware of that. For a teacher or an occupational therapist, they would understand what I meant by that definition. Although circles are one of the first steps toddlers scribble, it is the most complex to analyze geometrically. John Lee taught me a different approach to I'm going to share with you today. Instead of leveraging their natural ability to see patterns, we use drills. Students don't need more drills. They don't need more homework. They need interventions that align with the way their brain works. If you could equip your students with strategies that make math tangible and engaging, would that be worth exploring with you today?
Sherry, this is amazing, and I'll tell you why. Because folks are leaning in because you're just unfolding everything in story form.
Mm-hmm.
So this is
So that
again
method,
for
that
your
method
audience.
was, yeah,
Yeah,
that method was an I statement, a you statement, a make a point, and a they statement. So it took me a couple different slides to do that, and I wanted to take it slow for you, but think about it. It was an I statement, a you statement, you make a point, and you do a they statement. So one of the ways to catch an audience with a story is we, they.
Mm-hmm.
We did this, then they do this, but this is the better way, kind of an idea.
Now, when you meet somebody for the first time and they don't know what you do, and they go, Sherry, what is it that you do?
Yeah, my VPS is more of I help teachers and occupational therapists understand new ways to intervene for kids to learn how to write and do mathematics.
So as an audience, as a part of her audience, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to, again, it's going to be automatic. I'm going to say, okay, I'm not teaching kids. So obviously I'm not going to use Sherry, but who do I know? If I'm in a networking event, I'll say, you know what? My sister-in-law is a teacher. I should connect you with her. Or my cousin is a teacher. I should connect you with him. And so that's why your VPS is so important. And then of course the next thing I want to know is what's your story? How did you get started doing this? What prompted you to even do this, Sherry?
Mm-hmm. And that is actually my next slide. And that is really that story that I told you about, the third grade student that was struggling. I needed to resolve those things. Another story that I use is about my daughter, who, when she was in 5th grade, she's a gifted student. I mean, she was getting hundreds on everything. She comes to me going, I can't spell, I can't spell. I'm looking at her like, what are you talking about? And lo and behold, she was having trouble with one word. Whereas I had this kid that I was doing an evaluation on who was struggling with writing every word. And I'm like, but there's got to be some connection in the brain as to how a gifted student and how a learning student learns. And through my connections and my work with John Lee, we've discovered that gifted kids and learning support kids both learn using patterns. And how do we create patterns that are going to help the students overcome the barrier to learning success?
So you see how the way she explained that, it makes everyone want to lean in because we're like, oh my goodness. So right away, I'm thinking in my mind, I have teachers I want to connect her with. I have people that have podcasts that I want to get her on. I have different meetings. Like I just got invited to speak at Ohio University, which of course is a university. Wouldn't it be? Yes, thank you, Sherry. I'm excited about that as well. Wouldn't it be exciting if I could get Sherry on that roster? So you see how networking works when you have your story and you have your VPS. That is your marketing. That's what makes people want to introduce you to other people.
Oh, and that would be fantastic, by the way. Oh my gosh, that
Yes.
would be like, and currently we are working with a different university. It is an Ohio University, and it isn't the Ohio State University. Yeah, that one, that's my nemesis, but
It's my
there's an,
alma mater. I love it.
oh, we
You will do
are
great things
Penn
with
State,
them.
thank you, girl. So, beside the point.
Great.
But
I
there's
love it.
another university, it's not Ashland, that has reached out to John Lee
Mhm.
about putting the Mastery Math method into a research program, which is
Okay.
really cool.
I love it. I love it. Now, I've been watching Sherry from when she started. She has made leaps and bounds and has grown so much.
Look at Debbie.
And yes. Oh my goodness,
Debbie,
Sherry.
was that the first time you really understood me?
My head is spinning because that's like night and day from the beginning and now,
Mhm.
you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And again, and like Kathy, my mind is going, you know, and my youngest granddaughter seems to be having a lot of problems with math and reading. So, the reading's got to go along with spelling. And
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not sure if it's she's bored or if she's, really lost. So,
Mm-hmm.
this is something that I'd
See,
probably like to throw towards Heather and say, hey, look into this.
yes. See, everyone knows someone who knows someone, and all you need to do is be able to connect them with Sherry because Sherry's got online programs, in-person topics. I mean, she's got all kinds of stuff going on. And this is where we're going to get into this later on in this series is you have to have a landing. You have to have some place to send all those folks where you can explain it. And here's my favorite phrase, explain it like they're a 12-year-old. They have to be able to look at your website and understand
And
it.
actually,
Like,
that's too old. You need to explain it to like they're in 3rd grade.
okay. Good to
Oh.
know.
Was one of the things I learned last week with Russell is 6th grade is too complex. You need to even back down to 3rd grade.
Good to know.
Debbie, I put that link in the show notes for you. I am doing a webinar on Wednesday if your daughter is interested.
I know she would be interested, but she's driving up to Cleveland because my second youngest is in the statewide choir that's singing on
Well,
Thursday.
Next month it'll be on a Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same
Okay.
link.
But tap into her website and you'll get the dates.
And the other thing is that Heather used to work at one of the schools for years with the, what do you call them? Not handicapped, but mentally challenged and students, you know, in the younger grades. And now she's working for the county, Fairfield County school district. So, you know, she's got some pull in there.
Well, that would be fantastic. And I am coming to Ohio in June.
Okay. And Kathy, if that's the women's thing, please let me know when that is, because I'm going to try to go to it this year.
It is, I want to say March 21.
Okay.
And I will look at my calendar. Would someone else like to jump in and tell us your story? Yes, it's March 21 is the conference. At Ohio
I'll do
University,
it.
Lancaster. Yes, Estella.
Oh, Estelle.
Y'all just have patience with me.
No, I get it. I get it. That's what we're
So,
here for.
yeah, so I'm describing why I got what I'm to where I'm at. And so I my background started out as a well, you know, it's kind of complicated, so I don't want to be complicated. It needs to be short and sweet. So
No,
anyway,
depends on your audience. Depends on your audience. If we're
okay.
meeting for the first time in a general setting, you want to make it more simplified. But let's say that you and I have been chatting for a while, and we're connecting, and I'm like, Estella, how in the world did you get into Legal Shield?
Oh, well, how I got in it was for years I was a union representative, chief president, chief negotiator, and grievance chair, and went back to school to get my undergrad degree, so in human resources and labor relations, because I wanted to have a little bit more say in bringing peace and order to the workplace and bringing fairness to situations. And you know, I just worked in HR, and someone came to me and shared with me uh, the opportunity to have access to an attorney without getting a bill, just pay a small monthly fee. And I said, sign me up, because I knew that it was something that could not only help me, but would be something beneficial for a lot of people who were, you know, dealing with landlords, or, you know, people have a myriad of different situations going on. And then I
Well,
took it a
everything.
step.
Yeah, everything from traffic citations to landlord tenant laws to, I mean, just tons.
Consumer laws,
Yeah,
garnishment, yeah.
it's life. Yeah.
And so, and then I took it a step further, since I was in HR and helped and did quite a bit of corporate work in HR. Once I left the corporate environment, I decided to do HR consulting, and that led me to being more aggressive in, shouldn't say aggressive, but more, well, I'll just say it for the moment, aggressive in helping small businesses be able to protect themselves from employment law violations and employee lawsuits. And I came to the realization with the legal plan that it would also, they could do a lot, I could do a lot more for the small business community if I provided them with access to legal resources there where they could deal with customers, employees, you know, landlords, just the whole bit. And it's something that I love to protect and empower people. So that's why I do what I do.
I think that's an amazing story. You see where she leaned, you know, like here, once upon a time, here's where I was. But then I discovered this, and now I want to bring it to the masses, and especially the small business owners. So you see, that's a perfect hero's journey story. I love it. Now, craft that in a way that you can actually put that on your website or in a blog or somehow where folks can find it. Now, I want to just give you,
go ahead, please.
I want to give you a little overview
Mm-hmm.
about how folks find you. If somebody would Google your name right now, would all your stuff come up?
No.
Because let me tell you what, people are searching for your name right now as we speak.
Mm-hmm.
So the best way to get your name to come up is for you to point back to where you want them to land. So if you have a website, even if it's a company like Legal Shield, I think gives Estella a website. Am I right? And with Debbie,
Yes.
with Melaleuca, I think Melaleuca gives Debbie a website.
Mhm.
Sherry and I had to create our own websites because we're not connected to another company. If you want folks to land there, then you have to start pointing to that site. So blog about it and link back to the site. Put it in social media, link back to the site. Put it in LinkedIn, link back to the site. As many times as you link back to the site is what's driving that site higher in the search engines.
Great.
So when you see something online, for example, if Estella posts something and somewhere in her post, she mentions her Legal Shield site, if I share that, I am now pointing back to her site. That's why it's important to share, if you really want to support some other folks on social media, is share their, like it, comment, and share. Those three things brings that up higher in the search engines. But you can bring yourself up in the search engines by having a group, a Facebook profile, a LinkedIn. You can have Instagram, and point back to your site. Then you can blog, you can have a podcast on YouTube, whatever it is that you do, point back to your site. You can have a meetup group, which Sherry and Debbie both have, or I'm sorry, Estella and Debbie both have, and you can point back to your site. Anytime that you point back to your site, it raises your site in the search engines. If you would, and I'm going to share my screen one more time. And here's what I'm talking about. Let's say that in the search bar up here, I am just going to put in, see if it'll let me. I don't want to put in all of that because it'll come up to that. I just want to put in my name. All I did is put in my name right here in the search bar. Okay, are you with me?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to hit enter. What comes up? Let's take a look right here. The first thing that comes up is the homepage of my academy. Then images of me. And this is Stephanie, but this is my nonprofit scholarship. So that's still me. Whoops, didn't want to do that. Let's get out of that. So now we're going to scroll down some more, and here's LinkedIn. It's me. Experience Freestyle Living. It's me. Videos of Kathy Benner. It's me. Freestyle Living Magazine. It's me. YouTube. It's me. Kathy Benner Companies and Business Coaching. It's me. Academy Freestyle Living on Facebook. It's me. Teachable. There's the magazine. It's me. Eventbrite. It's me. Instagram. It's me. It's me every single post on page 1. Let's go to page 2. Overview of the Academy. Me, 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 me. That's page 2. Let's go to page 3. There's me, 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 me. Okay, I'm all the way on page 3. It's all me for 3 pages so far. And I could go on. Now, again, what I'm trying to prove there is that you can drive yourself up in the search engines by pointing back to your platforms.
Kathy,
But
do
if
you
you-
have a Google profile on the right side?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
very important. Having a Google business profile, it helps link things back,
Mhm.
and it brings you higher on the Google platform.
Yeah.
Can you
Sherry's,
show us what that looks like, both of you ladies?
yeah, Sherry, you can share still. Sherry is the first 4 pages on Google. I might be 4. I only went 3 deep. But the point is that you can change how you show up. but it has to be a decision on your part, and you have to simply start, because if you wait a year, that's 12 months that went by that you could have already put yourself at the top of the search engine. Sherry.
So I'm not, this address is not correct, and I'm kind of glad it isn't. I'm trying to protect where my family is since I work out of
Oh,
my home.
I get it.
I don't publish exactly where I live, and fortunately, it doesn't even show up close to where I live. It actually shows closer to where I grew up rather than now. But you
How did
can,
you
it
get the
links to your
page?
website.
Mhm.
You can link it to a phone call, and I have the phone call there, but um I make it go to voicemail and record the thing, and it says I have hours here that I close at 5 p.m., which most days I do. To set appointments, it has a link. Kathy uses Calendly. I use a company called TidyCal. Kathy, I do like TidyCal. I converted from Calendly because it was a one-time fee rather than
Okay.
monthly. And it
Good to know.
Sherry, I have Tally Cow. I'd like to talk to you about that at some point. I do have
okay.
Tidy Cow as well. And how, since you had, forgive me, I don't mean to do the sidebar, but just 1 second here. Why did you, I mean, because of the cost, but do you find it as functional?
Yeah, but you got to dig into it a little bit more. It's not quite as user-friendly as Calendly.
Okay.
But it has everything from my Calendly. It pulled it all over. I just have to adjust. I have to go in different places to find it.
Okay. But but the key question is, you and Kathy have this on Google. How did you get it there? And what do I mean, like, is there, like, I have Google Workplace or Workspace or whatever it is. Google Works, maybe. Is that what it is? I have things that I have not yet used, as Kathy very well knows, but I'm going to soon. So is that how I set up that page for
You have to Google business profile.
okay.
And I'm using all three words. So you Google business profile, then you hit, and then when it takes you to that, then you go into their business profile section.
And I have more than one. I have three, because I have the Academy, I have the Caraway Guest House, and I have my rental properties, because the audience is separate for all. It's not the same audience for those three. So I have three separate business profiles.
Got you.
Does that make
Thank
sense?
you. Mm-hmm.
All right. Anyone else want to give us their story? Once upon a time, but then and now. Overview of their hero's journey. Yeah, Sherry's like, Debbie. Debbie, you want to give it a try? No, she says no.
You know, Kathy, you just said something, which, you sometimes, it's like when you read the word, you read it and you get one thing, and then later on, you just said something, and I'm like, well, what I just described was my hero's journey. I was a fighter of the underdog, and just progress from here to there to so on. And okay, I think I got it.
Yep, that's what the hero's journey is. It's once upon a time, but then you discover this, and now you want to, and you go that complete circle, and now you're back. You want to help other folks discover
Got
it.
Got it.
Doesn't matter what the product is.
I was solving a problem, and
Yes.
the problem was people not having access to defense, or just, well, anyway, defense or their rights or whatever.
All right, Satya, how about you? Do you want to share?
No, I was going to say, I work from home, so I have to like finish something. Have a stand-up call every day at 3:45, and
Okay.
so so I have to provide few updates. So I was thinking to drop if that's okay with you guys. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, it was
Yes.
nice meeting you all. Yeah.
I appreciate you being here. So before we go, and Debbie's going to pass, but before we go, what was your aha moment for today?
My aha moment was I like the storytelling and also the link tree electronic business card.
Yes,
Yeah,
perfect. Anyone
yeah, and
else have an?
also the Google search. I have done that long time ago. I had my site and I had my Twitter, Facebook, all the social media pointing to my site. But
Okay.
I had to maintain it. It was not like you have to pay for hosting the website and running the website. So I stopped doing that. But I could relate to you when you were talking about the Google search and how to come up in the search results when you type your name and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yes. Now keep in mind, this does not have to be overwhelming for any of us on this call. Simply plug it into your calendar. If you're just going to spend maybe a half an hour a day, do you know how much you can accomplish if you just work on your business instead of in your business for just a half an hour a day? Sometimes I'll just clean up a section of my website and because I've gotten more clarity, and I'll just clean up one little section. I'll say, oh, it needs to have this link that I didn't have before because I had 3 people ask for that and I realized there was no link. So I needed to add a link. And maybe that's all I did for my business the entire day was I added a link
Yeah.
into my website. It could be that you just need to tweak one little thing, but just do one little thing each day. And imagine within 5 days, you're going to have 5 more things pointing towards your business.
Right.
Yes. Okay. Any other aha moments?
Kathy, I'll drop. It was nice meeting you all again.
Yes. Nice meeting you. Please come back. We're here every Monday at noon.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. See you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bye. Okay.
Where
Estelle,
was she from?
she's actually in Columbus, Ohio. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. She found us on Meetup. Those Meetup groups, girls. Come on.
I know, Kathy. I went to your calendar because I said I was going to set up an appointment with you and,
Huh?
do the coaching. And somehow, I got distracted or whatever. I couldn't find it. So I need to go back and
Just
do that so I can
go to
get that moving.
KathyBenner.com. All the links are right there. Again, you have to have a place where all your folks are going to land, and you got to make it very easy for your folks to land there. If you say, well, if you want my book, you got to go here. But if you want the podcast, you got to go here. But if you're after the blog, you got to go over here. And if you want the course, you got to go to the Meetup, and just make it all one landing page.
And make that landing page your name because it's easier to find you.
Yes.
That so you have the stuff that you're doing, the Legal Shield. Took me a while to come up with that name. Sorry. You have Legal Shield, but if you have EstelleBlake.com and then you start writing a blog, the blog could be there. Legal Shield stuff. You link to it. It goes over here. It goes to a separate page. I have 5 different websites.
Mm-hmm.
They all come back to sherry.com.
Yep, me too. I do the same thing. The magazine is somewhere different. My Meetup groups are somewhere different. But when I'm out marketing, I just tell everybody go to KathyBenner.com. It's all right there.
So I really need to have my own website. I mean,
Yeah,
my
even
own.
if it's just a one page, even if it's just a one page website. And
Do
now,
they still have Fiverr? I'm sure they probably do.
yeah, they
Fiverr
do.
where they can do
There's
stuff
Fiverr.
for you.
But here, I want to challenge you. If you just had EstelleBlake.com and made it look like Kathy's link tree, and that's the only thing that you did, that is a landing page that will take people to where they need to go.
And you could use that as your business
So
card.
you're saying all I need is my domain, right?
Yep.
Need a domain.
And set up a link tree. Is that what you were saying, Cherry?
Or you can set it up yourself. You don't need Linktree. You can take the same idea of Kathy with the bars, and you can make Estelle Blake look like Kathy's Linktree by just having people go to the different place. That's all you need to do. You don't even say Linktree. You need EstelleBlake.com.
one of your bars could say Legal Shield, and, become a member of Legal Shield and it takes them over, or, sell Legal Shield, become part of the team and it takes them over. It's wherever you want to take them over to that website.
And that's done in the link tree, right? Okay.
Well, that would be done right on your home page. Let me show you.
I would do it right on your homepage.
Yep. Let me show you real quick.
And that's on my home page is my own website. Gotcha.
Yes. This is my website, and I'm just going to show you what it looks like. This is my website. If you go to Kathy Benner International Academy or just kathybenner.com, both of them point to this homepage. This is what you get. If you put in kathybenner.com, it'll come right here, which is easier than telling somebody it's Kathy Benner International Academy .teachable. People are like, what? I just say, go to kathybenner.com, and I just point it right here, and this is what they get. I created this link. It takes them out to my Calendly. What if all you had was a picture and a series of links, and one says coffee chat with Estella? It takes them right out to, what was the product that you're using, Sherry and Estella, instead of Calendly?
Tidy
Tidy
Cow.
Tidy Cow. So it takes them right out to your Tidy Cow. You could have another link right under that one that says buy Legal Shield, and it takes them right over to your Legal Shield
And
website. You
buttons
could
are
have
not that hard to create on a
No, not
on
at
a
all.
main website like that. But
You
you
could
could
have
you can have a picture there. You could have some kind of slogan, tagline that you go by.
well, your
Um,
VPS.
You
My
can put your
VPS is right
VPS,
here.
and you don't have to make it that detailed as Kathy made it. Make it just a series of buttons.
Yeah, just a series of these links
On my webpage. Okay.
right on,
On,
and you only need
estellablake.com.
and you only need
I
one page.
don't think I can get .com. Somebody else has that domain, but I've come up with estellablake.co.
That'll work.
Okay, that works too.
Yep,
Or
that'll work.
could be info or whatever, but I think co would be better.
The other thing that you can do is always add your middle initial and then get .com with your middle initial in there.
Mm.
Because if it was me,
Mhm.
I would not go to a .co that fast.
Because people are going to put in .com and then it's going to error
Mm-hmm.
if they don't
It's not
remember
gonna-
that yours was
So if you
.co.
put in, I don't know what your middle initial is, Estella
E.
J. Blake,
Mhm.
it's what?
Estella E. Blake.
Okay, EstellaEblake.com, and you want to make sure you go to the one with the E in it,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Because I
there,
think, there's a site out there where you can find out how many other people have your name. And I think there's 9 of us in the country.
I just got lucky.
There's only one
Yeah,
other
with
Kathy.
your last name, yes.
Yeah, there's only one other Kathy Benner over in Indiana, and she's a dog groomer.
Oh, okay.
So again, it was real easy for me to be the whole first page because she's not out there marketing herself real heavy. So none of her name got intermixed with my stuff when somebody searches for me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you
And-
put in
and-
freestyle living, I might be mixed in with 100 other companies that are using the word freestyle in there.
Mm-hmm.
See, so you see where your name really brings you to the top of that search.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the other things that helps, and this is something you can consider, instead of a full tagline, if like where Kathy had her face and her friends' faces on there, with Debbie being one of them, if she had hashtag freestyle living on top of the picture, like people would be reassured that they came to the right place. Not that they're not, because we know Kathy, because we can see her face. But another thing that you can do is hunt for an unusual hashtag, which I've been doing lately, and I think I found impact for, I think it was student success. And then number 4, impact for student success. So that is something that I can consider putting on my homepage, that's a hashtag that I use. So whenever I'm using it, because I looked and nobody's using it. Now, I say this here live and we're recording this, somebody's going to steal it from me, but that's okay.
Now, Sherry, Sherry, guess what? I went on my state's Secretary of State, and I actually got the name Freestyle Living.
Yes, you go,
So
girl.
So nobody else can use it.
Yep.
So did you have to register that with the BOI and all that? Okay. Mm.
And I did that because I'm putting a lot of energy and time and effort into the Freestyle Living
Oh,
phrase.
yes, absolutely.
Now, there's all kinds of businesses that are using the word freestyle, and there's all kinds of businesses that are using the word living. But the Freestyle Living phrase, I now have trademarked as mine.
So you're trademarked in the state or trademarked in the nation?
Mine is in the state, because if
Okay.
it's in some other state, I don't know that it's really going to infringe on me too much.
Mm-hmm. Curiosity. How much did it cost you to do a statewide trademark?
Is it a trademark or is it just a name registration?
Well, it trademarks it for me. It's trade name registration is what it's called. I want to say $50.
Oh, okay. All right. I already did that with my name in Pennsylvania. One of the things that I was looking at is copyright. Copyright you can do for like $50, and that's nationwide. But we were trying to make sure we refined everything down before we did it. And that's a little bit cheaper than trying to apply for a trademark, which costs like national trademark costs like $10,000. So copyright, certified copyright, you can do that.
And you said that's $50?
Around that. I'm not sure exact figure. COVID could have changed the price too, and with the way that things have gone up with prices. So don't say that it's definitely
No, but that, I mean, it's
Oh,
not
wow.
$300-400. That's all I'm saying.
I don't think it went up. I would hope it didn't go up that much either. But it used to be.
Because I did the trade name registration for the Ohio Business Leaders Network.
Yes.
So what does that get me now?
Which is Estella's meetup group, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in Pennsylvania, the way we terminology is a little different.
Mm-hmm. But the point is this whole group, this whole meetup is all about building a better business. And so you've got to have a good cornerstone on your business. You got to have a good foundation before you take off and running, because then things are going to come back to haunt you. So make sure you get a good foundation under yourself. But I agree with Sherry. All of us should have a one-page website with our name, with a .com, because that's the most common. That's what everybody tries first. And then
.net's a good second one.
.net is a good second one. Yep. Those two are the big two. And again, don't forget to use your chat GPT. You can research anything over in chat. You know, you can say, what are the top two, internet, what is that called? The .com and the .nets. What are the top
The
two?
domain.
The domain. Yeah. What are the top two domain addresses?
Pork bun and name cheap.
What'd you say?
Like the food, pork bun. Don't ask me why they picked that name, but pork bun and name cheap are the two cheapest domain places that I've found recently.
Now, I'm using GoDaddy for a domain name, and the reason I like GoDaddy is because you have total control to point that domain wherever you want it to go. And domains are very inexpensive.
Mm-hmm.
So I could buy the freestyleliving.com domain, the kathybinner.com domain. I can buy as many as I want and point them all to different pages of my website. So no matter how somebody searches for me, it's going to go back to my website.
And so when you get, like, when I get StellaEblake.com, or I might do .net, I don't know. Anyway, I can point other links to that website. Is that correct?
If you buy them on GoDaddy, now you might be able to
Yeah.
if you buy them even on what Sherry's talking about, but I know you can on GoDaddy.
If you do something on Pork Bun or Namecheap,
Pork bun.
for you,
I know about
I wouldn't use them because you're going to need somebody to help you code a little bit to get to the point. GoDaddy is much more user friendly for the person who doesn't know how to code. So I would
don't
use
wanna learn how to
GoDaddy if I
code.
were you.
I don't want to learn how to code. I just want to point where I need it to point. Estella, you're
I have
on.
I have a coder in the house.
Estella, you're on mute. Unmute there. Yes,
Okay.
Debbie.
I have to get going. I'm sorry, I've got another appointment. So see you guys.
It's good to see you,
later.
Debbie.
I'll
Now,
see you
Debbie, are
too.
you getting ready to jump over on a call with Sherry?
No.
Do you do a Bible study with Sherry Brown?
Oh yeah, that's tonight.
Okay, that's tonight. Okay. Well, come Thursday if you want, because I think she's going to be at the coffee house Thursday.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, Estella,
All right.
we are meeting every Thursday at 4:00 at Porter's Coffee House in Pickerington. Every Thursday at 4. There's just 4 or 5 of us, and Sherry, you're always invited. And if you get a chance to come over, you can stay at my house.
I'll be there someday.
But there's no
Someday sooner
agenda.
than that.
There's no agenda. We just drink flavored coffees and laugh.
Well,
Yeah.
by
Okay.
the way,
I have
I
a 6
love that
o'clock in
mug.
Easton every week, so which I need to be at least by
Mhm.
5:30. So
Oh yeah, there would be plenty of time because you're with Pickerington. You're right on that side of town. You're maybe 10 minutes away from Easton.
okay.
Well, see you guys later.
All
I'll
right.
let you know
Bye,
about
Deb.
Thursday.
This has been
Bye.
very, very helpful. I got ahas.
Okay.
And
Estella, what's your big aha moment, Estella?
I think my biggest aha today was I finally got that I have a hero story.
Your hero's journey.
A hero's journey. I finally got it. And I'm grateful that you ladies are telling me I need to get my own little website. And
Well,
I'll just have
because
to decide if I want to just do estellablake.net or estellaeblake.com rather than trying to get the domain from the people that already had my name.
But see, Estella, once you have that, then
Mhm.
you can grow because you can connect your legal shield, you can connect your meetup group, you can connect any blog you want to do, you can connect any podcast you want to do. You can then start to build a better business for
I
yourself.
can do my Instagram and
Yes,
all that stuff as well.
you can do all of that. And you only need a one-page website. Now, if you're like me, it's going to, mine has grown into my entire academy, but I knew that I wanted to have an academy. So I picked a platform where I could do courses. If,
Mhm.
if you just need more of a landing page, yours does not have to be anything
And
like
I can expand out later, as things get
Absolutely.
added on. Mhm.
Absolutely. Sherry, are you sharing?
I'm
She's looking
trying.
for you. She's looking for you.
So I'm
She's-
just putting in Estella Blake.
And she's under name cheap.
Namecheap. So right now, estellablake.net costs $12.98.
A year
Mhm.
for the whole year.
Estellablake.org is $7.48, and then it's going to be $12.98 next year.
But you can't use the .org unless you're a nonprofit.
Correct. And then you
Well,
can go
I'm definitely-
AI. Now look at what happens when you do an AI. It gets really expensive. But look, you could go to estellablake.info, $3.48, but then next year it's going to cost you $24.98. You see the little print? You got to watch that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Mhm.
again, in the scheme of things, that's not very expensive.
No, it's not.
Oh, here's an estellablake.biz.
Yep, for $6.98, and then it's $19.98 next year.
Mhm.
And then what you need to do, you buy it, and then it takes like 48 hours for it to solidify. And then you have to be able to go, if you're on using Namecheap, you have to go back in and then link it to whatever platform you're going to use for your website. And I
Now-
just happen to
now-
have somebody in my house that does that for a living. If
But
you
Sherry, let
really
me
get stuck.
let me jump in and share. Let's say you want to point it over. Let's say you went on, let's just pick something. I'm on HostGator, and then I'm on Teachable. Let's say that you pick HostGator. I'm just going to use that as an example. And you open up your home page, and there's going to be that URL at the top of the page. Like when I open up my Teachable, it says Kathy Benner International Academy.teachable.com. When you go then back over to like your GoDaddy or wherever you're going to pick up your domain, you simply copy and paste that into a blank, and it's done. That's how easy it is to point your domain.
You do what now? You just simply copy?
You open up the platform where you're going to build your website, whatever that platform is, whether it's HostGator or Teachable or whatever platform. And there's going to be a URL. And remember when I shared my screen, you could see Kathy Benner International Academy at Teachable. That's my URL to go to my platform. I just copied that, went back over to GoDaddy, and there's a blank, and it says, drop in here where you want this EstellaBlake.biz to go, and you just paste it in there, and anybody that puts in EstellaBlake.biz automatically goes over to your website. You're just copy and pasting the URL. That's how simple it is to point over to where you want it to go.
So this is on GoDaddy. You could buy EstellaBlake.net today for a penny, but then you're going to be invested in a 3-year contract with them, and basically it's $50 and it's yours
for 3 years.
For 3 years.
It's $50 all 3 years.
And then you see they have a big sale.
Oh, they've got one with the hyphen. Go back up. There's an Estella-Blake.com. Penny.
So you just kind of got to look at the different ones and see which one fits. Blake the Group. There we go. Look at that. Estella.org. Oh, look how much that one is.
Oh my goodness.
Well, again, you can't use .org unless you're a nonprofit, or edu unless you're an educational institution. Now there's EstellaBlake.biz again for $10 a year, or $10 the first year, and then it looks like it's $30 a year after that.
So one thing I noticed about GoDaddy is their second year is more expensive, but you're also getting more features on GoDaddy than you would be on Namecheap.
But you use Namecheap, right?
Actually, we use Pork Bun.
And I use GoDaddy.
You probably don't want to use Pork Bun. I'm just saying. That's for somebody who knows how to code.
No, I don't, because I don't want to use a coder or whatever, but I might be interested in learning more about what your son does.
Yeah, I put all of mine on GoDaddy, and so they all come up for renewal, like my Caraway Guest House, Kathy Benner Companies, the KathyBenner.com. All of mine are on GoDaddy, and they all renew at the exact time. And I just put them on an automatic renewal, so I don't accidentally forget to renew them. Because if they fall out of renewal, somebody else can pick it up, and then they might kind of hold it hostage and want to charge you a couple $1,000s to get it back. So I just put mine on auto renewal. It comes out of my bank account every year, and it's on auto pay.
That's good info.
You could even have your group name. You could even buy the group, your meetup group. You can even buy that as a domain and point it over to Meetup.
And I could just put it in, I could use that name and put it in .biz. I like
it's
that.
it's however you want to build it. But what happens is now you're building an actual business for yourself. And you're not just a Legal Shield representative. You are actually building a business with blogs and podcasts and meetup groups, and you're actually building a business. And so now your business is going to support itself, which in turn is going to support you.
I love it.
Does all of that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense.
So that's what Sherry has. Sherry has her domain where everything lands, her website where everything lands there. And she can build that out however she wants. Mine is on Teachable, and I can build that out as much or as little as I want. Now, I want to give one more bit of advice before we go. Be careful using Fiverr because you become dependent. And anytime you have a brainstorm, see, Sherry's got a coder in house. You and I don't. And so every time you go, oh my gosh, I would love to add this to my website. Now you have to find somebody on Fiverr that's going to do it, that has the same vision as you, that doesn't want to change your whole website to their vision, and then back and forth. And is this what you want? No. Can you do it again? I don't like that. And they're charging you by the hour to do all this. And trust me, websites these days are so easy because they're all plug and play. You just click on something and drag it over and drop it. It's called drag and drop.
What might even be easier for her is Wix.
Yeah, a Wix website would work very well. I have our Ohio Writers Guild website on Wix.
Okay. And it was easy to navigate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, Wix is very easy to navigate.
Yeah,
Okay.
Wix is easy. So that might be a good one for you. Again, I like HostGator, but it's a little harder to get into. My blog is on HostGator. But anyway, it doesn't matter which one you choose. It's just once, and they're all so similar these days that once you choose one and land on one, then just start building that out. And if you do it yourself, then the sky's the limit, because then you can say, oh, I don't like that color, or oh, I want to change up what my website looks like, or oh, I want to add. And I was at the mercy of website builders for years when I had the salon. And I finally, I can't even tell you the thousands of dollars I spent trying to keep my website current. And I finally just said, you know what? Today's technology makes it super simple. I am smart enough to figure this out. And when you look at mykathybinner.com, I did all of that by myself. No
Well, you're
one
special.
did any of that. I had to figure it out though. I had to figure it out. And it's like building a house. And Sherry will tell you, she's been remodeling hers since she started. I've been remodeling my house since I started. You know, you get in there and you're like, oh, I could add this. Well, now it needs to be on page 2 instead of page 10. So let me scoot it over there. And once you learn, and again, there's only about 10 things that you need to learn in building a website. You need to learn how to add text. You need to learn how to add a picture. You need to learn how to change the color. There's only a handful of things. And once you learn those things, you can build anything you want.
Okay.
So don't be afraid of that. And then see, the sky is the limit. You have got total control over what your business is going to look like.
And YouTube will teach you all.
Everything, I know.
Well, now, and let me back up and tell you this. I have been using chat as my search engine. It is amazing. I just go to chat and say,
Now you
hey,
have the paid version of that?
no, I'm using the free version. And I just go over and say, hey, if I wanted to add a blog to a Teachable platform, how would I do that? And chat will say, one moment and I'll tell you. And all of a sudden, there's a step by step. You go to this and then you do this, and it just gives you a step by step on how to do it. And then if there is a YouTube video, it'll even say, oh, and here are the YouTube videos if you want to watch those. And I'm like,
what?
And you can go to Gemini or Copilot and it'll do the same thing.
yep.
Now you pay for those two though, right?
You can do those for free too.
What?
Yeah. But I do pay for chat because I am actually building out more things and I'm building on previous conversations. So if you're going to do that, you need to pay for it. If you're doing one-off kind of things, free is okay. But ChatGPT and I are actually talking to one another these days.
Yeah, me too. I do the same thing. Yep. I love it. I love it. I'm just like, hey, what about, and chat will go, hey.
And now I just got access. They just did an upgrade. So because I'm paid, I got upgraded to some stuff and it created some neuroscience stuff for me. I was like blown away.
Okay. Because it has access to everything out there. It would take us years to research all of that. And when you put it in chat researches it in a matter of minutes. So it's pretty amazing.
And you doing all you've done, Kathy, on the free version. You've got to be
Yep.
kidding me, because you're amazing. You and Sherry. I
Well,
think,
Sherry, we're kind of cut from the same mold. We started about the same time, and that's why you see where we are, because we both started about the same time going down this path.
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
But
I decided I was writing a book August of 2016.
Okay.
and I retired from the nail salon in December of 17 and got serious about building my academy. So within a year of Sherry, I got serious about building my academy out. And now, you know, with the podcast, I mean, I'm getting thousands of listeners, thousands of downloads. Sherry's getting all kinds of listens and downloads. We've got blog posts going on. We're both published authors. But again, we wouldn't be where we are if we didn't just start at some
Just
point.
start.
Start. And the other thing I had gotten from a business coach early on is 1 hour a day. You devote
Mm.
1 hour a day to learning how to create whatever that next step is. So if it's, you choose it to be the website, 1 hour a day to learn this particular theme on your what to get it to for your website. 1 hour a day to learn Wix. And that's it. 1 hour. You set a timer. When that timer goes off, you go on to other stuff with the Legal Shield.
And it doesn't matter what time of day. It's
No.
whatever works for you. If 2 o'clock in the morning is your sweet spot, then do it at 2 o'clock in the morning, if that's your sweet spot.
That would be, well, probably 1.
Okay.
1 to
but
2.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If that's
Mhm.
your sweet spot.
Not me. See, I'm out cold by 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Oh my.
Well, but
But
you're
you get up at what time? 4?
No, I'm not up quite that early. I have my alarm set for 6, but the cat sometimes will find me at 5:30.
Now,
But I often wake up before the alarm too.
now
before
for me, I have a tendency that again, the whole freestyle living, I want to go out and hike and bike and travel to Florida and do all those things. And then I get backlogged, and then I'll pull an all-nighter to get caught up.
I do
And
that
then,
too, but
and then I'm back to, you know, running around and doing all the fun stuff. So everybody goes, oh my gosh, you are living the life. Well, you know, I still have to pay the dues. I still have to pay the bills. And so just about, I'm going to say maybe 2 times a month, maybe 3, I will pull an all-nighter to get my desk clear. And
Yeah,
that
the
works
notes
for me.
tend to build
That
up.
doesn't work for everybody, but that works for me.
But I'm also working on this now 8 hours a day, which is different than what you're able to do, Estelle. So,
or what I am doing, because I'm out hiking and biking and all of that. And then I'm
Right.
still putting in the hours, but I'm just doing it in, you know, in one big push overnight.
and you evidently have a schedule and a to-do list, and you're kind of like time blocking. Is that what you ladies are doing?
I do. During the week when I'm busy with the guest house is when I work on my business. And then when I close the guest house, let's say we're going to go to Florida for 10 days. I don't do anything that 10 days. I don't work on the business. I close down the guest house. I can just be totally present in wherever we're traveling. So if we're in London and Paris or Italy or Florida or wherever we are for that 10 to 14 to 21 days, I am totally present in what I'm doing. Now, the only thing I do is I will still do this call on Mondays. I still come in and do my podcasting calls because all of that stuff is already in my academy. Like today, I showed you everything I covered was already done. All I had to do was cover it, and I might present it a little differently each time because depending on who my audience is and where they are in the journey, but the information has already been done. And so I don't have to physically write a module and then do a call. The module's already been written. So I focus whenever I travel pretty much on the travels, except for my Zoom calls. That's and again, I want to keep those kind of on a schedule. But then when I'm home and Mark is off working on an airplane or whatever, then I kind of follow Sherry's pattern. I kind of fall back into a 9 to 5. because I get up in the morning and have coffee with Mark. I wait for my guests to check out. I might chat with them for a little bit. So by 11 o'clock, my guests are gone. Then I get laundry going. And while the laundry is doing its thing, I can sit down at my computer and write another module, do a podcast, do a blog. I can, work a little bit. Then I go throw it in the dryer, work a little bit more. Then it's time to make the rooms back up. And then I'm done for the day. So by 3 o'clock, I'm done for the day. And then by that time, Mark is coming home, and then we either go out to a networking event, out to dinner, out dancing, out hiking, biking, or whatever. We'll do whatever. And then on the weekends, I keep that free for Mark and the family on Saturday and Sunday. I just
That
do
is
fun
just,
stuff.
I want to live that kind of life, freestyle living.
Mhm. So you still
I don't-
have to pay your dues. You still have to pay the bills. You still have to make the business grow.
Right.
But you can strategically plan that.
Mhm. Wow.
But you have to have a vision on how you're going to build the business. Sherry has a vision, and her vision has changed over the years because she's gotten more clarity. And as she gets more clarity, she's like, oh, I really need to, tighten this up a little bit, or I can add that, or I could change this. And that's where I say she's back, tweaking her platform, same as me. But she knows where she's going, and she can just keep building on her firm foundation. She's got a good, solid foundation under her business. As I like to say, she can add a room anytime she wants because she's got a firm foundation under there.
Okay. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it.
Sherry, did you get any aha out of it? Thank you so much for your contribution today for the lesson. Did you have any
Yes.
aha moment?
I think my aha moment has been coming by just listening to the course that I went to last week. I've been like, and now I'm reading the book. Like before, I tried to read the book, and I was like reading. Now that I saw him in person, and I'm now reading the book, every page, I'm like, I could do this. I could do this. I could do this. I could do this.
And
What
the
book are
good,
you
Focus on a
reading?
1 hour webinar.
but the good news, Sherry, see, is that you've got a good, solid foundation already. And
Yeah.
you're just building on your foundation. As you learn more, you can grow more.
Yeah.
And then this is the part, and Sherry and I both, we know the author who what was the book where you look back instead of forward? Oh, what was the title? I've got it in my bookcase
Are you
here.
talking about Carrie's book?
No,
Look back.
don't
not
go
forward.
away. It's right here in my bookcase. All right, the gap or the game? The
Oh,
gap.
yes.
The
What
gap in
is
the.
it?
It's called The Gap
Dan
in the
Sullivan.
Game. Dan
The
Sullivan.
gap in the game?
The Gap and the Gain. GAIN. The Gap and the Gain. What happens, and Estella, this could be a big aha moment for you as well. What happens is we're always looking out in the future, like, oh, I should be doing that. I should be doing this. I should have a podcast. I should have a blog. I should be going to more networking. I should be, and we forget to look back and see how far we've come. And so don't forget to look back and see how far you've come. So a lot of times I'll look at my business and I'll say, oh, I should be including this and in that. And I don't have time to sit down and write a whole module on that. But when I look back at how far I've come, it's incredible. And that's another thing. And Sherry can back me up on this. Your platform can show you how far you've come. When you finally have your whole business on one platform, you're like, oh my gosh, look what I've created here. Your online platform is your storefront. And there's your tweetable tweet for today. Your online platform is your storefront.
Okay. I got that written down.
All right, ladies. With that, we're going to go. We went over today, but this has been good stuff. So
Yes, yes,
Thank-
yes.
thank
Thank you
you.
so much, ladies.
yes, thank you for being with me today. Sherry, thank you for all your contributions today. And Estella, thanks for joining in and being such a good student.
Thank you for having us.
Now, you got to let me know where you're out networking because I can join in, but try to join us on Thursdays if you want. Again, it's just a great little group. We're just trying to uplift each other and it's all my favorite peeps. And so
Sherry Brown, does she do what is it that I know it's Sherry Brown and she sells a product. I forget. It's some kind of health stuff.
yes, it's the same Sherry Brown.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's the Sherry Brown that you know. Yeah. Yeah. She's a health coach. She's written a book. So I've invited to interview her on my Ohio Writers Guild podcast.
Okay,
But
great.
she's out of town this week. But she thought she would be back for Thursday.
Okay. Okay. Great. She's a nice lady.
Yeah, and she does a Bible study of some sort.
Okay.
Yeah. But she knew you and Debbie. So it's the
Oh,
same
okay.
Sherry. Yeah.
Great.
All right, ladies, we're gonna go. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so
Sherry,
much. Have a great, let
Grateful
us
he went.
all have a wonderful, great, prosperous, productive week.
Oh, look at the kitty. Sherry, I can't wait to see what you're going to do next. You just amaze me.
My mission is to make $10,000 off of one webinar.
There you go.
All right.
And you know what?
And
You
I
got
want
to
to
put
do
it
it
out.
by the end of the quarter.
Yeah, you got to put it out there. It'll never happen. So yes, thanks for putting it out there.
Well, it's I'm doing it 3 times on Wednesday.
Yeah, good. I love it.
Okay.
All right,
Awesome.
Estella, dream bigger,
Thank you.
Estella.
I am. I definitely am. And I am going to connect with you real soon.
All right, ladies. Talk to you
Okay.
later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.